Okay, so rightful king and patriotism. So, on a complete opposite, right? Patriotism means that you love your country. If you're patriotic, you love your country, right? So, we can compare Lady Macbeth and Macbeth's obviously unlawful, unnatural kingship to who is actually meant to be king and compare it with other characters as well. So, Macbeth and Lady Macbeth's immorality and violation of kingship is juxtaposed, so contrasted, with the pious, moral, and righteous nature of Malcolm and Macduff. Pious just basically means religious, moral, obviously moral, and righteous is like they're good people. Of Malcolm and Macduff. Just so we're clear on who Malcolm and Macduff are, Malcolm is the son of Duncan. So you've got Malcolm and Donalbain, who are the sons, and Malcolm is the one who becomes king at the end. And then you've got Macduff, who is just like a soldier, and Macduff is the one who Macbeth kills off his wife and his kids. And then Macduff is the one who ends up beheading Macbeth at the end. So just so you know who those two characters are. They are virtuous, these two characters, and patriotic. Remember, patriotic, they love their country. So they are a real contrast or juxtaposition to Macbeth and Lady Macbeth because they exemplify the traits we would typically see of people in the Jacobean era, people who are moral, people who are religious, and love their country, who are then patriotic, right? So, henceforth be earls, the first that ever Scotland in such an honour named, and this is what Malcolm says in Act 5, Scene 8. So this is what Malcolm says. This is right at the end when he becomes king. So he is then right at the end when Macduff beheads Macbeth, Malcolm becomes the rightful king of Scotland. Of course, he was meant to be the king because his dad was Duncan. So his dad was King Duncan, so he was meant to become king. But of course, when King Duncan was killed, he had to flee in fear that he was going to get killed too, because of course his life was in danger. So this signifies the restoration of order. Restoration, when you restore something. He has an honourable lexis. So lexis, remember, is word choice. The way that he speaks, he's very honourable in the way he goes about things. He is bestowing, so almost like giving the gift, of his high regards to those who have been loyal and will continue to restore order in Scotland. So in this quote, he's talking to the earls, which are like the people high up, and saying, right, like, you will be remembered for being trustworthy, for being loyal to me. I will make sure that you're recognised. Of course, the true qualities of a good king. He is making sure that the people who are good to him, he is good to them back because he loves his country, he loves his people. A real foil to Macbeth. Now, a foil is just like when something completely contrasts something else. So imagine like tinfoil. If I was going to hold up tinfoil, you'd see the reflection of something and it's like slightly blurred. Foil is almost like when a character kind of exemplifies another character's characteristics, right? So say, for example, Macbeth. And if I compare Macbeth and Malcolm. Malcolm is really moral. So he is a foil to Macbeth. He really exemplifies Macbeth's immorality. So that's why he's a foil to him. Because he really, if we're comparing them as characters, Macbeth is really immoral because we can see that Malcolm is really moral. Just like if we were comparing how good of a leader Malcolm is, we only know he's a foil to Macbeth because Macbeth is so bad. We can only compare them because Macbeth was so bad, we can see how good Malcolm was. That's what a foil is. Like, it accentuates the other character's trait. It really shows you how good they are or how bad they are because it's like a point of comparison. We as an audience have a chance to compare because we've seen what Macbeth is like, obviously, to begin with, and then we get to compare that with Malcolm, and we see how good of a king Malcolm is, how moral, how, you know, he's a good leader because we've seen how tyrannical and how horrendous Macbeth was as a leader. He just killed everyone off, right? And then again, this links back to the divine right of kings. Of course, divine right of kings, God chose the king. He is the rightful king and thus is divinely ordained. He's been chosen by God. Although like God technically didn't choose him, he would have chose King Duncan, his dad would have been chosen, etc., etc. So technically, he has been chosen by the king. He is restoring the idea of the divine right of kings that Macbeth tried to violate. His pious nature, his religious nature, and patriotism, so his love for his country, is a benchmark. So benchmark is something that we can compare it to, so like a foil, of Macbeth's self-indulgent tyranny. So because Malcolm is so moral, Malcolm is such a good leader, He, you know, really favours his people. It's a benchmark, so we can measure it against how Macbeth was really selfish. He was only doing things to make himself more powerful. He didn't have Scotland's best interest at heart. He was self-indulgent in his tyranny. Remember, tyranny, being tyrannical, is a cruel or oppressive leader. So when he was like tyrannical or his tyranny, he was a cruel leader just because he wanted to get what he wanted. He didn't care about his people. He didn't care about Scotland. He didn't care about all these people he was murdering. He only cared about himself and his ambition. So again, it's a really good point of comparison. If you got a question on kingship, I'd do that one paragraph on Macbeth, one paragraph on Lady Macbeth, and then one paragraph maybe comparing Macbeth and like Malcolm, or like one paragraph comparing Macduff and Macbeth, which we'll go on to. I'll just give you a second to write it down. Okay, and then this is a quote from Macduff. "Oh, Scotland, Scotland." Nice, easy one to remember. This is in Macbeth, Act 4, Scene 3. Let's see if that comes up. Okay. So, hyperbole and repetition. Hyperbole is a technique that means over-exaggeration. So, we could see that Macduff is hyperbolic, so over-exaggerated, in the way that he talks about Scotland. He is so patriotic. He loves his country so much that when Macbeth is the leader, he feels like Scotland has died. Like, that's his kind of comparison. He feels like Scotland has literally died. So there's the hyperbole, so over-exaggeration, and repetition. Of course, the repetition of Scotland, Scotland. This emphasises his distress. He's really upset at the fall of Scotland. So like Scotland's like fallen down, metaphorically, obviously, under Macbeth's tyranny. So he is so upset that Scotland has become full of violence and they don't have a good leader, because he loves Scotland. He's so patriotic about Scotland, but he's so upset that because of Macbeth's tyrannical rule and his tyranny, he's like a cruel and oppressive leader, it's kind of fallen down. The country he once loved is no longer the country he loves. It's not the same anymore. He laments the loss. Laments means like he grieves it. So, you know, if somebody dies, you lament their loss. That's what it kind of means, like you grieve them. So he's lamenting the loss, like he's like grieving them as if it's like a person who died. He laments the loss of order and morality within Scotland. Again, it serves as that benchmark. He is so patriotic. He loves his country so much. It genuinely pains him to see what Macbeth has turned it into. He is so distressed. He is so upset by it because he loves his country. He's patriotic, right? And then the other technique is personification. So personification, just for anyone who doesn't know, it's when you give something that's not a human qualities. So he is making Scotland seem like a person when he's talking about it. He's like, oh, Scotland, Scotland, as if it's like a person. So we could see that's personification, because Scotland is not a person. He personifies Scotland, speaking to it as if it were a person, as I've just said. The death of Scotland under Macbeth is alike to him mourning an actual person. So, like I kind of said, Macbeth having the rule of Scotland, so Macbeth being king, is almost the equivalent of someone being murdered in front of, like, let's say, Macduff's mum being murdered in front of him. He loves his country that much. He loves his country like he loves his mum. It's almost like by Macbeth being ruled, but by Macbeth ruling, he is like, Scotland's died. Scotland's dead. He's really upset. He values kingship with the highest regard. So, of course, because he's so patriotic, because he's so moral, because he's so religious, he views kingship, just like everybody else in society, but Macbeth, because he's crazy, he views it as so important. Of course, we know the great chain of being, the divine right of kings, as we spoke about at the beginning, they are the foundational beliefs for society. They are the facts of life. So remember, it just as Macbeth was disturbed by the fact that he was, you know, going against these facts of life, so was Macduff, so was Malcolm, because they love their country so much. They love and abide by these facts of life. Macbeth's completely skewed it. He's completely turned it on its head because, of course, of his extreme tyranny.